So in this video, I'm going to go through the 6.2 properties of rational exponents in case you missed something in class or if you were absent. So here we go. The first example, so we've got rational exponents. Here's the problem right here. Simplify x to the 5/3 times x to the 4/3. And so you have to remember this rule here in the green. Whenever you have the same base and you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So that means we have to add 5/3 plus 4/3, which is what I'm doing down here. And when you add fractions, you just have to remember you need a common denominator, which we already have is 3. So you just copy that down, add the two numbers in the numerator, and then simplify. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And so remember, and that 3 is in the exponent. So x to the 5/3 times x to the 4/3 actually equals x cubed, or x to the third power. So so this is a question for you to try. Y to the 3/2 times y to the 1/2. So again, add the exponents. 3/2 plus 1/2. They already have the same denominator. So then we just add the numerators and simplify. Okay, and so that's the exponent. So y squared. Y to the 3/2 times y to the 1/2 is y squared. Okay, a little bit different when we have a problem like this where we have a power in parentheses and then another power outside. We multiply those together. That's what this property says. So that means 1/2 times 2/7. I did that down here. Now when you multiply fractions, you don't need the same denominator. You just multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and then simplify. You can also cross-cancel these twos. If they have something in common, you can cancel them out, and then they become ones. So then we just have 1 over 1 times 1/7, which of course is just 1/7, and that goes back in the exponent. We keep this same base, whatever it is, and then the power goes up there. Okay, a similar question. 3 to the 3/2 to the second power. So then that means we multiply these exponents. This becomes 3 to the 3/2 times 2, and 3/2 times 2 over 1 is 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 1 is 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this equals 3 to the third power, and then we have to keep going since 3 is not a variable. We can actually calculate this. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, question 6, simplify. Now we've got a negative exponent in there, so I want you to write your answer using positive exponents. So multiply. This becomes x to the -3 times 2/3. Okay, and we can do that over here. -3 over 1 times 2/3. -3 times 2 is -6. So that doesn't look like a 6. And 1 times 3 is 3, and then we simplify, that's -2. So that's our power. So we have x to the -2, but I want you to write that using a positive exponent. And so if I think of this as a fraction already, the way to get rid of this negative exponent is to flip everything around, and then it becomes positive. So there we go, 1 over x squared. Number 7, now we are dividing with the same base. So if you had something like this, x to the m divided by x to the n, you keep the base the same, and then you just subtract the powers. So that means we have to do 7/5 minus 4/5. We have the same denominator, so we keep it, and we just do 7 minus 4 is 3. So the answer is x to the 3/5 power. Okay, another example. So now if we start out in root form, we've got the cube root of 8x to the 4th. First thing we want to do is rewrite using rational exponents. So remember, cube root means 1/3 power. So we're going to raise everything that was inside here. think of those parentheses and then extend them here, raise it all to the 1/3 power, and then distribute the exponent to each term, the 8 and the x to the 4th. So 8 to the 1/3, and then x to the 4/3 because I multiplied 4 times 1/3 is 4/3. So that's taken care of, but now we have to go back to root form here. 8 to the 1/3 means just the cube root of 8, which is what times what times what is 8, and that would be 2. So we get 2 times x to the 4/3, which would be the final, like the most simplified version you could do. Okay. Question 9, so similar question. Square root of 25, you can sort of ignore this part for now. Square root of 25 is 5. That's why all these answer choices have a 5 in them. But then this x to the 8th part, you want to think of this as 25 x to the 8th, all raised to the 1/2 power, because square root is to the power of 1/2. So then when we distribute this exponent, we multiply that part, and we get x to the 8/2, which is x to the 4th, right? 8 divided by 2 is 4. And so then the 25 to the 1/2, that's just the same thing as the square root of 25. So that part's 5. This part is x to the 4th. We put it together and multiply 5x to the 4th. Okay, question 10. This is probably about as complicated as I'm going to give you. So first thing we need to do, since there's parentheses, is distribute this exponent to each term. So 64 to the 1/3, that just means cube root of 64. And then x to the 3rd, all to the 1/3, that means we're going to multiply that. So 3 times 1/3 is 1. And then y to the 6th to the 1/3, we multiply those exponents. So 6 times 1/3 is 2. 6 times 1/3 is 6/3, so that's 2. Okay, now we can copy down the rest. We've got 4, x to the -3, and y. The next thing we want to do, let's deal with 64 to the 1/3. That's 4, because 4 times 4 times 4. And then we've still got this 4 down here. X to the 1st, I'm just going to write x, and then x to the -3, and then y squared divided by y. We can probably take care of two things here. 4 divided by 4 cancels out, and y squared divided by y just leaves us with one y on top. Okay, so what do we have left? We have an x and a y, and then an x to the -3. Now how do we make this x to the -3 positive? We move it upstairs. So that leaves just a 1 in the bottom, and now we have x times x cubed times y. When we move the -3 upstairs, it becomes positive, and then we have to multiply. So when we multiply x times x cubed, we just add the exponents. So that's x to the 4th times y. We can get rid of the 1 on the bottom, it doesn't make a difference. And there we go, x to the 4th times y. Question 11. Just add the exponents. Oh, I've got some extra ones here that I need to get rid of. These are just the same question twice. I'll get rid of those. Okay, that's it for 6.2.